Uh,
Anywhere in the world, someone could look up and see exactly what I saw.
To everyone else, it was just a light in the sky.
I don't have outer space. We got rock and roll.
But to Homer Hickam, it was the future.
Sputnik is a milestone in history.
And just maybe a way out.
College scholarships for winning a science fair? I'm going to build a rocket. What do you want to know about rockets?
Everything. A lucky one to get out on football.
Well, if you haven't guessed, since it's October, I figured I would review the movie October Sky. And I will do that right after this little message.
The biggest, fiercest fruit shark of them all, the great white sharks with killer fruit taste. You eat shark bites fruit snacks, you've got to eat them before they eat you.
Intense!
Especially now. Now you can collect glow-in-the-dark shark toys. One free in specially marked boxes of Shark Bites fruits.
Well, this is the trailer for October Sky. So I am going to dedicate this movie to October Sky, to the wonderful and very kind cash prizes, also known as Fake School 78. Yes, he did do a negative comment. So, yes. So there was a few negative comments that unfortunately I had to take down. Not because... Now, yes, the shots were at me, but I don't care. They were shot at somebody else. And in that case, I had to take it down. Because now I decided to do a show here, so this is all my fault. So you can take as many shots as me as you want. I'm cool with it. But you cannot take it at my significant other. That's rude. And it's also silly. Because at least she has the guts to at least voice an opinion. I went on wonderful cash prizes, channel of nonsense. And there's anime crap, there's political nonsense that was awful, and then there was some Japanese guys making noise. And apparently it was legendary comedy. It wasn't funny at all. So I feel like I should just dedicate this wonderful October Sky movie to Fake School 78. Also known as cash prizes. It's the right thing to do, but the problem is, this is an intelligent movie. This movie shows hard work. This movie shows dedication. I think we're going to lose cash prizes in a matter of seconds because he's going to get bored. Because he's too busy sitting on his video game chair that can sit three pure big fat butts right on it. It's a jumbo-sized video game chair with 6 guns and a scope in the back. And it's probably in his mother's basement. So am I taking offense to cash prizes? Absolutely not. So now I will get to the review of October Sky. This movie took place in 1999, and I looked at the movies that came out in 1999. And this movie did actually have some competition. I honestly thought 1999 would be the cash prizes of years. It was not. It was actually really good. Toy Story 2 came out, so that right there, it may not be a favorite of some, but it's very heavy competition for October Sky. So is Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I know people didn't like the new ones, but you know what? It's Star Wars. Complain all you want. You're going to see it because it's Star Wars. Fans have no right to complain. They're going to see it. They bought tickets. They probably more than once, and they still complained. So yes, Star Wars is something to compete with. The Hurricane came out. 10 Things I Hate About You.
I have that.
Do you really? Well, see, right off the bat right there. Teenagers did like that movie. It was okay. I believe American Pie 2 came out. There was a couple, The Green Mile. Yeah, this movie had a lot to compete with. So, starring in this movie, Chris Cooper. We know him from The Patriot. It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, an overrated movie, but he was in that. He was in some stupid movie called Lone Star. Never heard of any of them. And Jake Gyllenhaal is in this. Now, in this role, he played really well. I'm not a big Jake Gyllenhaal fan. But he played this part well. He was good in The Day After Tomorrow. I didn't really like him in Jarhead, Ambulance, Southpaw. I like the movie Ambulance, but I just don't take him as that kind of part. And then Laura Dern's in this as their teacher. We know her from the Jurassic Park movies. The first one, the third one, the blonde lady, the lead. There we go. And she was also in The Founder with Michael Keaton. And then there's a few other co-stars that I will get to. There were 4 Rocket Boys. Let me get through the story first. They're in a coal town, so it's either you get a football scholarship or a sports scholarship. You go off to college. You get out of the coal mines. But there are unlucky ones. The ones that don't get the scholarships can't afford to go to college, so you get to breathe in coal dust. So Homer Hickam, who is Jake Gyllenhaal's part, doesn't want to do that. So he wants to try to find another way to get out. So he looks up in the sky, the October sky, and he sees Sputnik in the air. He gets amazed by this, that this satellite got launched into space, and this is what he wants to go for. So now in this, he actually has to learn very complicated math, which is pretty much rocket science. And just because they're fire... Yes?
I can do that.
You can do that?
Hmm?
Oh, see? There you go, cash prizes. She's not stupid. Wrong. What? I just said you could do... You just said you could do... Yes, I bet he is wrong that you're not stupid. So now he sees this, and now he really wants to get out of... What'd I do?
Nothing.
Okay. So his dad, for some reason, I found this kind of silly, I guess. He really wanted his son to be a coal miner. For some reason, he loved doing this. I don't see the... I don't really understand the love for mining coal. I don't see why you would want your son to follow in your footsteps. He's pretty much got the size of a quarter on his lung from breathing in this coal dust most of his life. So he's pretty much coughing throughout the movie. Like, you know that he's getting sick at some point here. So anyways, he keeps thinking his son's going to be a coal miner. He wants to get out, so he wants to go into space. So he wants to build these toy rockets, which he finds out is harder than you think, because you got to get everything right. Some of them blow up, and they have to figure out why. So he friends this guy named Quentin Wilson, who's kind of who is a nerd in school, and this is where I kind of make fun of this country, that we frown upon those who are intelligent, and we like those who are stupid, like Rob Gronkowski. We all worship him, but we don't worship any scientists in this country. We all think that scientists are Bill Nye, which is 100% wrong. The guy's a TV personality. So Quentin Wilson is an outcast because he's smart. He looks weird, and oh yes, and he's played by Chris Owen. Not a huge Chris Owen fan, but I really like him in this. So, Chris Owen was in American Pie. He was in most of them. He was even in the right-to-DVD movies. He was also in The Mist. Did you ever see that? He was a kid in the grocery store that got killed first by those big tentacles that came in and dragged him in the back of the store.
I like that movie.
I didn't like the end.
I like that movie, though. We should make
movie.
other people.
I like the movie until
we should be
end.
making it, put other people in it.
Okay. That would be an idea. But yes, Chris Owen was in The Mist. I believe he was in a couple other movies too. I'd have to look him up. Because he was in one that I just... Oh, yes, Major Payne was another one he was in. That was with... I forgot what Wayans' brother... Oh, Damon Wayans. That's it. It wasn't a great movie. So, anyways. So they end up friending this guy, but they kind of... At first, they feel funny hanging out with him, but then they find out... Hey, it's pretty cool to have a smart friend because he's figuring all this hard stuff out. But he's also helping Homer with the math. So, yes, this guy is a very important part of this movie. And Homer's other friends are, there's Roy Lee and then there's Odell. Those are his friends at the beginning. And Homer Hickam, yes, he's based on this is a real person. This is what he did. There are some inaccuracies in this movie, but for the most part, it's pretty accurate because Homer Hickam actually helps with the movie, and this is based on a book called Rocket Boys. So, okay, so pretty soon I will be showing the first clip of pretty much it's Homer saying that, why do jocks, why are they the only ones that get the scholarships? So, I will actually show that clip right about now.
Why should the damn jocks be the only ones getting scholarships? They also the only ones that get the girls. This burns my ass.
Not talking to the wall.
I'm sorry, Tom. I'm just trying to get
Make sure the hoot out just fits those timbers by the fence.
That's good. That Alexa turned our lights on. So this is Homer pretty much pushing his friend. That's actually Roy Lee's car. Odell was actually in the driver's seat. Yes, he's having a little problem with that car, but didn't the cars look so cool back then? Please comment on that. I would love to hear your input. Because I thought the cars looked really cool in the 50s or 60s for that matter, even 70s. So, and I also do like the soundtrack. Our little friends made a comment about that on their little review, and I will show that later on. And I think that show needed some chair insurance, and you're going to find out why. So now we also met Homer's father that works in the. And when that guy says, "Does your dad talk?" and he says, "Oh yeah, he talks." We saw how tough he is down in that coal mine. He's got quite a mouth, but the thing is, he does have a very difficult job. He is very strict because he really does have to be. So he does come off as a jerk at times, but he really is in kind of a tough spot. And you'll find that out eventually when you do see this movie, because I'm not going to show a lot of clips because I'll be giving too much away. So I will show the next clip of when Homer actually sees Sputnik.
I see it right there.
Well, Homer obviously is pretty amazed by this Russian satellite, so he pretty much announces the next day at breakfast that he is interested in pursuing his dream and going to space. And let me tell you, his family is probably very supportive over this decision, as you might notice from that wonderful, loving family. So I will show you that in just a second.
That's the one that's going to draw the scout.
Yeah, Welch knows it too. I mean, they're going to be coming after us.
I'll be careful, Jim. Last year, those two boys from Welch got their arms broken.
Oh, they started it.
You hear much? Who started it? I don't call that football.
You don't worry about Jim. There's nobody on the Welch team that can catch him. I wish the scouts could have seen that first game with Blue.
I'm going to build a rocket. Like Sputnik. Well, I'm not saying it's going to go up in space or anything, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to build a rocket.
Well, just don't blow yourself up.
Well, obviously they're not taking him too seriously. His brother, that is his brother across from him, his brother's Jim, who is a star football player. We already met his father, who's obviously looks very annoyed at this announcement, and his mother just makes a joke, but she's really not that bad. But I am going to show the next clip because this actually really did happen in real life. So Homer decides to buy a rocket instead of actually building one. He's going to find out that this is going to be more complicated than he thinks. So I will show you that clip in just a second.
How high do you think it'll fly? Well, I got it packed with the powder from 30 skyrockets. 3-4 miles. You ready?
Yeah.
10, 9, 8.
Should we get behind something?
Well, this didn't go as planned, but this, I believe, was a store-bought toy rocket that Homer purchased, I do believe. But this really did happen. He really did blow up his mother's fence. So after this part, he says, "Okay, I have to take some steps forward here." So he friends Quentin Wilson, which I'm not going to show, but I'm going to show the next rocket because this part also really happened as well. This time it's his father that gets the brunt of this one. And let's just say you can tell from the opening scene, I'm sure he's a very forgiving man. So I will show that in just a second. I just got to get Alexa to turn off my lights.
Look at these, Homer. They won't fly unless somebody lights a fuse.
What the hell's a hawk?
They don't fly.
What, kind of like a parakeet?
Ready?
Well, Youngstown's always been fair, Otis, but asking me to lay off damn near half the town.
Mine is just not producing. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Holy shit, it's headed for the mine.
I told you we didn't know what we were doing. I told you.
So this is what you've been up to in the basement, huh?
Yes, sir.
Damn, Homer. You could have killed somebody with this idiot thing.
Well, Homer here wants to be a rocket scientist. Is that it, John?
He had no idea what he wanted to be. But I know what he is. He's a menace, and he's a damn thief. And so is whoever helped him. Ike Markovsky did this, didn't he? Don't you ever let me catch you with these fool things on company property again. You understand me?
All right, well, this again did not go in Homer's favor. So my thing is, at least he's trying here. Now, he did get somebody to help him from the mine. His name is Ike. I don't really know how to pronounce his name, so I'm not going to try. So he helped him with the rocket, with the welding. He works in the machine shop. So obviously we see him try to fly this thing, and it goes right for the mine. This really did happen. This is something else that was that Homer Hickam did help Joe Johnson write this. So he knew what to actually tweak, and this was a big thing that he had to put in here. That one of his rockets did land right on the company, right by the mine. So this is going by people's heads. It could have hurt somebody. It could have got somebody in the leg, the arm. Yeah, this could have caused a major injury. So he says you cannot shoot any more rockets off on company property. And because Ike did help him with this rocket, he then sends Ike from the machine shop to the mine. So now Ike didn't mind this because he's giving money to his country, so he makes more money into the mine than he would working in the machine shop. So he did make more money working in the actual mine itself, but unfortunately it does end up to kind of backfire at him, which you will have to watch the movie to find out what exactly happens. But
We hiked 8 miles for this? Oh, it's great. What should we call it? How about a slack jump?
What about no man's land?
Hey, Coley. Holiday's perfect. We could...
so I'm showing this part because I want to explain to some of those. Just because something looks like a dump doesn't necessarily mean it is. I want to show this part because he has a vision for this. He's using his thing called an imagination.
Most people
Oh,
don't have that.
No, most people don't even know what that is.
Cash price?
And he is, yes. Thank you for bringing that in. So,
Oh, you're welcome.
so he is pretty much showing that they can build a launch pad. They can build a stand to protect them from the rockets. I mean, I do agree with him on this. This is a nice big piece of land here that they really could, that he's making this into an advantage. That his dad says, take this off of company property, and look what he found. He went all the way to Snake Root, which is 8 miles away, and found this nice empty lot that they could use. So he used what his dad said as an advantage here. This is something else that people don't do. It's been brought up to my attention that the materials that they do end up using were stolen. Okay, that is true. Now, I did forget to look up if that really did happen or not. I know that most of the stuff in this movie, like I said, was pretty accurate. I will go over the inaccuracies after the actual grading of this movie. So I'm going to show just a couple more clips here. I'm going to show one more where this rocket, unfortunately, it might go kaboom again, but there's a reason why I am showing it. So I'm going to show you that in just a second.
Hey, Homer! I heard you telling Ike you were going to be shooting off another rocket up here today. I thought that might be something we'd like to see. Homer, I flew with the Red Tails in World War II. And seeing that rocket come at me, it almost took me back down. Hey, let me have a look at that thing. That's a good job on the weld, Homer. But the heat from the exhaust melted the washer.
It's referred to as a nozzle.
So this is Mr. Brolin, who you could probably figure out that he wants to see the rockets. So obviously one does go off and one almost hits him. So now he becomes a big part of this movie because he eventually does help them. He finds out what was going wrong with it. He also offered what he needs to order, that special steel that can take the heat. So what they do is, to order that expensive steel, they end up taking scrap old railroad abandoned tracks to a scrapyard. So that is a lot of work. So that is how they were able to order this expensive steel. So he does help them with everything, and he does explain that Homer did a nice job on the weld. Oh, so Homer had to learn how to weld. So this isn't some stupid movie about a spider that fights somebody and they magically get powers. Oh, I'm talking about Spider-Man. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. So So this shows how much
Who
hard
was
work
talking
that
about Spider-Man?
I'm explaining. That a lot of these superhero movies are kind of sending the wrong idea
Oh.
that things magically happen. No, he really worked really hard to get to his position. I'll explain further on here, but I'm going to show one more clip here. Let's see if he eventually succeeds into actually firing off a rocket successfully. So let's find out in the next clip.
Launch yourself a rocket.
Is that thing really gonna fly?
Well, hey, better fly. You can kiss your chances of losing your virginity. Goodbye. Couldn't you guys find something better to do?
Hey, listen, blow himself up. That's real funny. Hey, Homer, come on, we don't got all this.
That was Cash Price's house. That's good.
9, 8, 7, 6, 4.
Oh, we must have had technical difficulties. We didn't get to see if the rocket makes it or not. I am so sorry. Well,
Are you?
Yes. I guess the audience is just gonna have to check this movie out for themselves. I honestly don't know if it is on any streaming services, but you could just buy the movie on eBay or your local garage sale or flea market. So anywho, I will give the grade now. The acting in this movie is really good. This movie was casted very, very, very well as well. And Jake Gyllenhaal did kind of put his thumbprint on the Hollywood movie business from this movie. So I have to give him some credit here. And I believe the girl that was in that last clip was also in The Day After Tomorrow with him. I could be wrong on that, but I'm almost positive she was. And so I am going to say that girl did want to go out with him eventually, but he actually turned her down. So now moving on from this whole thing, before I give the grade, there were some other parts in here. This wasn't the last clip of the movie. There was still more to go here. They still had the science fair, and Dr. Werner von Braun
The last scene.
was a famous scientist, and he did go to that science fair. I'm not going to say what happened or not, but he was very intrigued by their rocket display. He was very impressed with it. I'm not going to say if they won or not. Laura Dern's character, she does end up getting sick. I'm not going to say too much what happens there.
Who's she?
The teacher that inspires him. She actually had a lot to do with following their dreams, and she does help Homer with learning the math. Again, he learns how to do the math. It didn't magically happen to him. So, pretty much what she says is you don't dream your way out of Coalwood. You have to work for it, which is, in most cases, very, very true. We can't all be like Donald Trump and get everything handed to us. So now, with some other parts here, Homer does end up working in the mine at some point. I'm just not going to tell you why he does that. And he does that because if his brother does it, he would lose his scholarship. So Homer was sort of forced to work in the mine. It was a family sacrifice that he had to make. I'm not going to say why, but so if I had to grade this movie, it definitely does get an A-. And to prove my point here, just to say I'm not blowing smoke, Blockbuster actually said when they rented this out to people, they said if you didn't like the movie, you would get a portion of your money back. Okay, yeah, so Blockbuster did give you... Actually, I think they may have actually given you your whole entire refund back. I don't know how that would work, though, because, I mean, you would think a lot of people would lie just to get their money back. Now, I'm not saying that... I do highly recommend seeing this movie. This is definitely one of those things where this is a movie you really should check out, because it is really, really, really good. It's excellent, in my opinion. It's not for everybody, because I did bring it over to a friend's house, and he threw a fit because he thought it was going back to school. He was actually throwing a temper tantrum. Nope. Yeah, he actually threw a temper tantrum because I brought this movie over, and because it had to do with science and math. He completely ignored the rocket part, but he really did throw a fit. I had to turn the movie off. It was like going to a 3-year-old's house if you didn't give him a cookie. So I will show you Ebert's perspective on this. Ebert at the movie. Siskel was passed away at this time, so the bald idiot is no longer with us, but he brought in somebody else. So we will see their opinion on this movie and see if it matches mine. Food for that.
The heartwarming story of a 17-year-old science buff living in a small West Virginia coal mining town in 1957. His father wants young Homer Hickam to work in the mines, but Homer has his eyes on the skies. The Russians have just launched the first Earth-orbiting satellite, Sputnik, and Homer wants to build rockets too. His first attempt is not what you'd call a soaring success.
Should we keep behind?
His devoted teacher, Miss Riley, played by Laura Dern.
You're not supposed to end up in those mines.
As if it were preceded by one of those curve-in-the-road signs, this movie can still get to you. It certainly got to me. I broke out in goosebumps. Not as many times as I was supposed to, I think, but enough to make the movie a satisfying, if way over long, emotional experience, and to earn it a slightly reluctant thumbs up.
I felt a lot of fondness for this movie, too, and I'm an exact contemporary of Homer Hickam. So when Sputnik was up there, I was in my front yard with my binoculars, and I was reading Rockets, Missiles, and Space Travel, a book by Willy Ley. I read that about 4 times. I never built any rockets, though, because I was a complete washout when it came to science and math. But the story is interesting because these kids are really trying to send up this rocket in a town that says you should have no ambition except to go down in the mine. And even Homer's father is telling him the same thing. You're a miner. You're not a rocket scientist.
The symbolism is quite obvious, but it works. Go down or go up.
Yeah.
And there's a wonderful little scene, a shot of when he finally has to go work in the mines and the elevator's going down. I would have liked more lovely imagery and less talking. But I think we ought to give credit to this kid, Jake Gyllenhaal, who plays Homer. He was so unactorly an actor. I don't mean he was a bad actor. I mean, he just seemed so real.
Natural. Yeah.
And it is apparently a true story. I mean, there really is a Homer Hickam, and he really works for NASA. We don't want to give away too much, but at the end of the film, you find out in American Graffiti style what happened to other people. The one thing I think that irritated me about the picture was all the rock oldies on the soundtrack. And I wondered if they almost been added later.
That's standard.
I know it's standard, and I know now that in the movie ads they say, come and hear this music, as if you couldn't go out and buy a record if you wanted.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do, is go out and buy the album.
Why did we need all of those rock oldies? I guess, as you say, enough to make an album to plug the movie and vice versa.
Sell those records. Okay, later in the show, high school girl.
Well, here we go. I don't know where to begin with this. First of all, Mr. Shales should lay off the pork rinds. And Ebert should really lay off the Whoppers and Big Macs. But I like how they, not to jump ahead of their review here, but Mr. Shales said apparently this was based on a true story. Okay, these guys work for newspapers. How do they not know this? Even I dug this up years and years and years ago. I just found some stuff about this movie today, but I at least still researched it. How come these guys didn't look into that? But now, so moving on from these clowns, they gave a really stupid review. I did not think this was too long. This was 1 hour and 48 minutes.
Well, they said they gave it a thumbs up.
Yeah, they did, but a reluctant thumbs up. I thought this movie was really well done. and I didn't mind the rock and oldies. This guy is definitely one of those fat Reddit reviewers because he's just talking about selling albums. I don't know what he's talking about unless he's talking about the soundtrack to the movie. Well, everybody buys that if they like it. This was a very good soundtrack. This would be one that I would actually buy because it's a mix of songs that I like. I don't think that's a big deal. But apparently to Mr. Shales, I guess getting a profit is, I guess, something they just don't like. So these two clowns can just kind of slide out of the way. I really do disagree with what they did say, obviously. But like I said, I do highly recommend this movie. I do recommend buying it. I don't remember how much I paid for it. I think it may have been $4.85 because my original copy, unfortunately, Rascal spilled pop on it. So, yes, I had to rebuy it. So thank you very much. Comment if you want, and subscribe if you like this channel. And thank you, and and hopefully you will watch my next show.